Hello, Leathercat here with an art book review for You Can Draw Transformers, done by Simon Furman and Guido. You should know those names if you're a Transformers comic book fan. Licensed by Hasbro. $20 book. Hardcover. I like this book. I very much like this book. And I will show you why. Besides being a hardcover, this has a spiral spine, as you can see, which allows it to lay completely flat, which makes it much easier to work with when you're trying to draw and using, you know, this for a reference, for, you know, study and so forth. The table of contents here should tell you just how valuable of a resource this book really is. From your equipment, basic shapes, figures, perspective, actual layouts for different ways to do transformations, action scenes for shortening, going into different parts of the body, from head, hands, and feet, details, weaponry. It even goes into different styles of drawing Transformers, from Generation 1 to Beast Wars, the Unicron trilogy, and Stormbringer, which some of you would know more readily as the War Within series. It goes into inking and coloring and different things. It even goes into actually how to sit down and actually create a comic. So for anybody who wants to get into that, there you go. There's your starting point. I love this book. I would recommend this for, you know, pretty much anybody from beginner, intermediate, and up, for this very reason. And you can clearly see why. We'll go into a little bit of it here. Shows you pencil weights and what those look like. Different types of pencils, erasers, and other tools. There's some little tips here written by Guido himself, which is really cool. He's a heck of an artist. Here you've got your shapes, combining shapes. Gives you some good examples here. And another thing this has, in several places in this book, are these transparent pages, which has, like in this case, you've got sketch, and behind it you can see the completed sketch. This is, you know, your rough outline here, and then you've got this behind it. And there's several places in there that they do this. From, you know, going this way to going with this with a final pencil behind it. But there's several. You've got different body types it goes into, vehicles, even scenery. Here's your perspective, 1, 2, and 3 point perspective. And here it goes into perspective actually in the scenes, and how to go from, you know, just a basic thing here to actually filling in all the details and, you know, making it look really good. And different tips on how to do that. So for people who have trouble doing, you know, backgrounds, there you go. This goes into some of that. Goes into perspective with the figure itself, different action poses and such. And here you go into transformations, from very simple hinge transformations, going from a box to a rectangle here, to more complex transformations with multiple hinges, like with Frenzy, as you can see down here, to you know, twisting and rotation of different parts, extension pieces, things that pop out, folding pieces that actually fold into itself, And it even gives you, using Bumblebee from G1 as an example here, and here you've got your transparent pages, so you've got your sketch overlaid on top of a final piece to give you some guidelines a little bit here. And it even goes into detail a little bit about, you know, how you go from one form to the next, one stage to the next in the transformation. Here's your shading and lighting, foreshortening, which I know a lot of artists have trouble with. So, you know, this shows you some really good examples on how to do that, and in different stages. Let me adjust the camera here. Action shots, battle scenes, and I love how they go from, you know, sketches to pencil to ink to color in some of these, to show, you know, the stages of drawing these things out. Here you've got Optimus, and they do the same thing with Megatron. You've got this sketch piece here, rough pencil sketch, and then final pencil drawing, and then your inked piece, and then it's got, you know, other details over here about the character and different things about him, transformation and so forth. Here's your heads, different types of heads. Hands, another thing that a lot of artists have trouble with is, you know, doing hands. So this gives you some examples and how to take basically a human-like hand and turn it into a robotic hand. You know, where to put the joints and so forth, how to set that up. Feet, different types of feet. And again, turning a human foot into a robotic one. Different types. Details from vents, wheels and tracks, pipes, joints, various things, even battle damage. I mean, seriously, I love this book. Weaponry here, and then here it goes into, here's Generation 1, and it shows different ones. Hey, look, there's Prowl. And we got, let's see, Jazz, Jetfire Hound, Ravage, Skywarp, and Soundwave over here. Dinobots and Insecticons from G1. We've actually got Shrapnel, Robot, and Insect mode, and then here's Kickback and Bombshell down here, and then you've got all 5 of the Dinobots, because you got Grimlock over here, and then you got the other 4 down here. And Combiners, which they use Devastator as an example, which is very cool for all of you who really like Devastator. Here you go. It gives you your individual guys and then putting it all together. Unicron, Mr. Big Baddie himself. Beast Wars, you got Maximals and Predacons, and it goes into, you know, breaking them down from, you know, learning how to draw both the robot and the animal and putting them together. Here's the Predacons, and then it goes in, and then here it goes into the Unicron trilogy, starting with Armada and the Minicons, and then here's Transformers Energon, and then Cybertron. And then here, like I said, Stormbringer, also known as the War Within series. And you can tell by Optimus that it is that series. Don Fig actually did a lot of these designs, and it covers a lot of that. And here's Megatron, like I said, they did the same thing with him that they did with Optimus. Giving you some really good reference points for these guys. Here's your inking and coloring section. Different types of inks, how to do different, using different stuff, coloring different materials, and how to, it even goes into textures and how to, you know, what different effects as far as, you know, how much inking to do, you know, from just simple line inking to some shadows to deep shadows and shading with the inking for different different mood effects in a given panel or page. Silhouettes, you know, your color wheel, different types of, different ways of coloring from monochrome, analog, complementary, etc., and warm and cool colors, and just different stuff. And then here, this is your whole section on creating an actual comic, which goes into different shots and angles, script, and doing different thumbnails, different layouts, different types of layouts, and down to even, you know, showing you some of the different steps into creating a full-on comic book. You know, doing it one page at a time. Another thing this has is this page here. It's perforated right along here, but my suggestion to you would be to leave this in the book. The reason being is it may be heavy cardstock, but it's still paper. It will break down with use. So, what you should do, and this is just my suggestion, would be to actually take a piece of paper, heavy, like, get another piece of cardstock, lay it behind this, and carefully and gently trace all of these, and then cut them out with an X-Acto knife. And in that way, you've got the original still in the book, and you can still use the templates. And you can make them bigger or smaller and adjust them and do different things with them. From, you know, stick them in your computer and stretch them out and do different things with them on the computer, for example. But this gives you some really good examples to start from, as far as for, you know, sound effects and dialogue and thought bubbles and stuff. So, definitely a good book to have for any Transformer artist who wants to, especially if you want to get into comic books. This is very, very useful. And for the $20 price tag, I would definitely say it's worth the investment. Enjoy, guys!